Corey Erdman here with the Fight Network, calling the action on WealthTV here in Montreal, Quebec, and the man putting the action on, as usual, Yvon Michel. Another fast and furious card, and a main event where you have one of your fighters, Adonis Stevenson, taking on Darnell Boone. And you said earlier this week, maybe it wasn't a fight that you were all that enthusiastic about because it's a bit of a risky proposition.
Absolutely. Look, we have a world championship fight around the corner for Adonis Stevenson, and when we finalized that, I really thought that he was going to be happy with, and we said, okay, then we will focus on fighting Chad Dawson. But instead, he said, look, Yvon, I really want that fight. It's personal. No matter what will happen after, I don't care. The guy beat me before, and I believe it was unfair when that has happened, and so I want to erase that. At the same time, his trainer said, look, Adonis hasn't fought since October. So we thought we were going to fight a very, very important fight like Carl Froch for the IBF title, and finally we had a little bit of a setback. So he's in camp, he prepared, so we're going to use that fight as a preparation for a Chad Dawson fight. But as a promoter, you want to sell that kind of fight because it's significant. It will have impact, a huge impact on the fighter. But at the same time, so why taking a risk of injury? And anyway, if the guy already beat Adonis, maybe he has his numbers. So, but on the other hand, we said, okay, if Adonis doesn't beat Darnell Boone, he doesn't belong in the same ring than Chad Dawson. So, okay, we'll go forward. We'll take care of business there, and then we'll see what will happen. And
it's obviously a revenge thing for Adonis in terms of getting his mind right and erasing that for him. And it's kind of a metaphor for his life in general because, you know, you and I have talked about this before. He wasn't in the right place when he fought Boone the first time. If he can beat him and beat him convincingly now, you know, maybe it changes things. It shows that he has turned things around.
Yes, but he knows that has happened. He said, you know, when that happened, I didn't have the right person around me, didn't have the right minding. Also, he took the fight for granted, didn't really prepare, and that changed his life. And he just wants to show you that everything that has changed since then, he wants to show it to everybody.
The contract weight, I believe, for this is 173 pounds. Was that because you're not sure whether he'll go back down to super middleweight, or is that kind of to ease him into fighting at light heavyweight?
No, it's not exactly like that. The contract is at 168.
Yes.
And so we have communicated with Boone's manager to tell him, after we made a deal for Chad Dawson, that because we're going light heavyweight, so we proposed to them to give them some amount of money and change the weight. They turned it down. They said, no, we're going to go at 68. And we know the rule in Quebec that Adonis will have to give us 20% of his purse if he's overweight. So I said, okay, that's your prerogative. But I said to Adonis, okay, what's the weight you'll be comfortable with? He said 173. So it's the perfect 173, and we will pay the penalty to Darnell Boone. So if they feel comfortable with that, then we're fine.
How far along are the discussions with Chad Dawson? I know you mentioned that HBO seems interested in that fight already. How far along have those talks gotten?
Just a win of Adonis on Boone. We have the will, we have defined the perimeter of our deal, me and Gary. Just need to cross some T and put some final touch on everything. So it's only pure administration question. So we have decided to go in that direction. The only roadblock that could happen it is if Adonis get beat this weekend.
Now, you also happen to have bigger things on your mind, too, or not bigger things, other things on your mind. The biggest fight in the history of the province and maybe in the history of the country as well. Jean-Pascal taking on Lucian. As a promoter, this has to be your crowning achievement, making this fight happen, finally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a dream fight. Since both of them became champion, we had an ambition to put them against each other, and for a reason or another, so the timing was not good for nobody. But I know and as a promoter, what you want to do is to give the fan the fight that they want to see, and this is the fight that people want to see here. There will be, I'm sure, the place will be too small at the Bell Center to hold everybody who will want to come. So that's why we have pay-per-view. But that fight will make history. It's the biggest fight between two local fighters ever here. When we had the Cusson Hilton, Paduano Marcotte, Melo Marcotte, Hilton Ouellet, and I don't want to take away anything from these fights, but we were talking about Canadian titles. Now we have two guys who were world champions, still at their prime. They're still at their prime, still have impact on the international level, and they're fighting each other here. So that fight, it's a fight not only that will appeal for the people here, but when we spoke to HBO and we told them that we had that fight, that we want to do that fight, they were excited. They were excited, and doing that show the same night on Brock Kessler, wow, what can you have better?
Now, arguably the biggest fight to ever take place in Canada was Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. Could we see this one go to the same place, to Olympic Stadium, given that maybe there's not enough room to have everyone at the Bell Center? We
already have announced that it's going to be at the Bell Center. We had a lot of discussion with the Olympic Stadium, and it was an appealing place. We definitely one day are going to go there, but you see, we have done so many shows with the Bell Center. They kept that date open for us, even though there's most likely Canadians are going to be on the Stanley Cup playoff. So they really came with a proposal that we couldn't turn down. So that's why we're going there.
Now, the other storyline for this fight is that you're working with Interbox, with Jean Bedard, and I think a lot of people view Jim and Interbox as rivals, but it seems that you guys are getting along, at least in making this fight happen. Is there still a rivalry there, or how have you managed to work with Jean in making this happen?
To some extent, we're competitors, and we want to win. They will try to win, we'll try to win. But it's not the first time we're doing business together. We did that for Adrien Diacono against Pascal. We did a stretch of 3 fights together, the two Pascal Diacono plus the Branco, and it went well. Very, very good. We didn't have opportunity to do other shows together. All those sports scenes is buying all our Fast and Furious fight. They are distributing our fight to commercial establishments. So we have good contact. And we are in the same business, but not with the same purpose. We are developing boxing. That's why we have a new guy coming from Russia. Berdebiev was world amateur champion. We have a guy from Colombia who's here. We try to get the best boxer possible and to have the business rolling. They are more focused on Lucian Bute. They haven't developed anyone else yet, and it's not their purpose. Also, it's not their goal with the business. But I tell you, there's several discussions, and we had a lot of logistic meeting, and it goes very, very well. I'm sure there will be for that no bump road. The only animosity will be really between the fighters, maybe between the coaches, but me and Jean Bedard, we will not have animosity, except, like I said, we're competitors. I want to win, he wants to win too, but no matter what will happen, there will be nobody bitter between us.
So when he sat down with your fighter for a steak dinner the other night, you didn't feel like he was cheating on you or anything?
No, he called me before. No, I had some problems. I called him. I said, we are at the point where he's asking me for more than what I'm willing to concede. So he said, we cannot have that fight not to happen. So I realized then that he and Lucian Bute really were holding to have that fight. So he said, can I call him? Is it okay if I call him? So I said, no problem. I gave him his number. He called me back and said, is it okay? I'm going just to sit with him and just to make him understand how big, how huge it will be. And that helped. And I'm sure if he would have got some problem with Bute and I could have influenced anything, I'm sure he would have said yes, the same thing.
Well, we're thankful that you made it happen, and looking forward to another great show on Friday night as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, Corey Erdman here with Yvon Michel for the Fight Network.